Hello, guys. This is Three Things with Ian. It is January 17th. Welcome back to those who have been with me since the beginning. And for those who are first joining me, welcome. I'm going to jump right into it. My first thing for today is a book. The Sun is Also a Star. This is a book. This is a YA book from Nicola Yoon. It follows two main characters. Our first character is Natasha Kingsley. They are both in New York City, both characters. She is an undocumented immigrant, and unfortunately, they are one day away, her family is one day away from being deported back to Jamaica, a place that she has never been. Our other main character is Daniel Bay. He's a Korean teenager, and his family wants him to be a doctor. So they have set up an interview with an alum from Dartmouth for his application package. These two characters get in the same subway car. Daniel sees a car crash and ends up saving Natasha from being hit in the aftermath. Daniel proposes that he can make her fall in love with him in one day, and then kind of they have this whirlwind journey where they do a bunch of stuff. You can kind of picture the motif where they go to a karaoke bar, they go to the top of a building, and there's stars, and there's a lot of nice imagery, some nice scenes. What I appreciate about sort of the YA genre, backing up a step, is how inward-facing it is, how much of the dialogue is sort of like stream of consciousness, and we really get into characters' heads. There's something about YA where we just really hone in on people's thoughts and feelings, and sometimes the plot is almost secondary to kind of how the characters are feeling. And this book does a really good job of getting into our main characters' heads. Essentially, the plot is mostly delivered through the dialogue. Daniel and Natasha staring deeply into each other's eyes. Natasha is adamant that, there's no future for this relationship because she's about to be deported. Daniel is very not happy with his family and the way that they kind of set up his life for him, stereotypically. What's cool about this book, without giving too much away, is that the ending is a little ambiguous, and I will be honest, Natasha does get deported back to Jamaica. They find a lawyer and they try a last-minute appeal, which ends up not being successful. And so they do see each other again 5 years later. And it's a nice story, it's a nice book, and it's one that I would recommend to everyone out there. Sometimes I think it's a good idea and it's fun to read something outside of the normal genre. And for me, sometimes reading a YA book is just the thing. My second recommendation is a podcast. I used to listen to a ton of podcasts, sort of pulled back a little bit, but as I walk and get back into exercise, I do find myself going to different podcasts, trying new things out. There's a podcast called Hyperfixed by Alex Goldman. The name may sound familiar to those in the podcast world. He's done a number of podcasts, all kind of centered around IT, help desk ticket kind of stuff. So this podcast's premise is that people write in with a problem, right? They're actually typing in a help desk ticket for life, right? So there's one episode where someone wants to get over their fear of driving. So he goes to New York City where they live, and they drive for 90 minutes and kind of have this dialogue and talk about why she's so terrified, and it's very interesting. Another episode centers on somebody asking, how do I use a measuring tape appropriately? Do I start at 0? Do I start at 1? The little metal edge, is that part of the equation? He ends up interviewing the guy from Mythbusters, who is a tape measure enthusiast of the highest degree. And it's kind of fun. So it's like 35 minutes. They sound lighthearted, but as with all things that are lighthearted, there's moments of intensity. There's moments of deep human relationships that are kind of unfolded. And it's really fun. I mean, Alex is very self-deprecating. He pretends he's not really helping people, but he's actually very good with humans, and he understands how people tick, and he kind of gets to the real core of what the issue is, right? So I recommend that. So that's number 2. That's Hyperfixed by Alex Goldman. And leaving the week, it is Friday, remember, with a little bit of a lighthearted sentiment. A reminder that you don't need an anniversary or a birthday or really any reason to bake a cake. It's always a good time for a cake. And today my recommendation is eat the cake. All right? And I'd be remiss without saying go Lions. Keep warm, everybody. It's going to be a very cold weekend, kind of wherever you live. Stay safe, stay warm. Tell a friend about this podcast. Drop me a line. I really appreciate all the feedback. I'm really enjoying the ride. We're just starting. Every day, new podcast, a new episode will drop. So, I will leave you to it, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.